Dr. Pixie McKenna is a GP with a special interest in eating problems. She's analysed the results of Andrew's blood tests, and this morning he and Natalie have come to hear her findings.
We've had all your blood test results back. I know there was something that you were quite concerned about yourself personally, wasn't there?
Diabetes.
Yeah. Your blood tests tested negative for diabetes, all
yeah,
right?
That's good. That's good news.
Yeah, you're relieved. One thing I was concerned is that your cholesterol level was over what it should be. A healthy chap of your age should have a cholesterol level of under 5, and yours was substantially over 5. So that is a worry. When you have high levels, it puts you at risk of heart disease, and that's quite a serious disease.
There are two sorts of cholesterol, a good sort called high-density lipoprotein, which helps the body to build cells, and a bad sort called low-density lipoprotein, which can lead to the hardening and narrowing of the arteries. Andrew has a high reading of the bad sort, and combined with his family history, this makes him a high-risk candidate for heart disease. Dr. Pixie will use vats of liquid representing healthy and unhealthy blood to illustrate to Andrew the strain he's putting on his heart.
Your heart is like a pump, okay? It pumps the blood around. I want you to pretend to be the heart, okay? You use the pump and pump the healthy blood for me through the system. Get pumping.
Without much effort, Andrew quickly pumps the liquid representing healthy blood from one container to another. With no fatty cholesterol clogging it up, it moves through the tubes with ease.
You've done it. Yeah. How was it?
Not too bad.
Bring on the fatty blood. Get pumping.
The thick, gloopy liquid representing blood with high cholesterol takes far more effort to pump.
Sweat on that.
I know you have. It is, isn't it? You've had a heart attack. Thick, fatty, cholesterol-laden blood is going to put you at risk for getting heart attacks and strokes and damage to your vital organs. What I don't want you to do is leave here and go, oh my God, 999, I need an ambulance, I'm about to keel over. You don't.
Your cholesterol is slightly high, but there is a lot you can do to help lower it. And you know what one of the key things is?
Right, I know.
Stop eating all those biscuits and eat proper food.
Now is the time to do it. If you leave it and you try and do it in 10 years' time, you won't be able to.
Yeah. 26 years is a long time eating crap all the time. And I think I've got away very lately, and it's a wake-up call, and something's going to happen now. I think I've got to change my whole lifestyle, diet, everything.
Joanne's back in London to visit the doctor with Natalie. She's plugged up enough courage to leave her dad behind, but she's brought her mum instead. Dr. Pixie McKenna is a GP with a special interest in eating problems. She's analysed the results of Joanne's blood tests, and while Joanne prepares to get the results...
This is Dr. Pixie.
Hi, Joanne. Nice to meet you.
Her mum settles into the waiting room outside.
I was just wondering how you feel on a day-to-day basis. Do you feel faint or dizzy?
Around about dinner time, I can start to feel a bit dizzy and
Right,
yeah.
you feel weak. Would you ever get sore mouth or very tongue?
Yeah,
or
I
anything?
do get sometimes like the middle of my tongue really sore. Even when I have a drink, it hurts sometimes.
Have you had any problems with your hair?
Yeah, it doesn't grow very much. It does grow, but...
Doesn't grow long?
No, I've never been able to get it long again.
Right. When we looked at your blood results, it doesn't surprise me at all, the things that you're complaining of. There were two things that came up. The first thing was that your red blood cells were very, very fat. And the reason for that is you're lacking in vitamin B12. I suppose I was nearly falling off the chair with surprise when I looked at the next result, which was that you're deficient in protein. That's quite a serious thing. You have to have protein to survive. If you ever look on television at kids who are starving and they have the tummies that are bloated out, that's because they're lacking protein, and it's a sign of malnutrition. So it's quite a frightening thing.
Proteins are the building blocks of our bodies. They're made up of small components called amino acids. These form in a long chain to create a protein molecule. Protein is involved in every life function in the body, from carrying oxygen in red blood cells on the inside to growing hair on the outside.
What we really need to give you a feel for is what protein and B12 deficiency could be like for you. I'm going to do a little experiment. Follow me. I'm going to hand you over to Bella, who's going to transform you into the future. Don't be nervous.
Pixie's medical makeover will show Joanne the impact protein and B12 deficiency could eventually have on her appearance. Meanwhile, Natalie wants to give Joanne's mum, Carol, a makeover too, but of the dietary kind.
Carol, I know that you are 100% behind Joanne in changing her diet. And I've got one favour to ask you, and that is for you all to eat exactly how Joanne used to eat for 3 days.
Right.
Is that something you think you could take on?
I can't imagine myself having a plate of potato for my tea. It doesn't really bear thinking about.
Do you think it's something you could do?
For 3 days, if it's going to help Joanne, yes, I would.
Carol may have found Natalie's request surprising, but it's nothing compared to the shock Joanne's about to get.
Are you ready to see what the future holds?
I think so.
Take a long, hard look in the mirror.
Oh my God. It's horrible.
You've got all the side effects of B12 and protein deficiency.
I look really old and scabby lips.
And nice hair as well, eh?
Yeah, the hair's probably one of the worst parts, so I'd have to wear a wig.
We've done this, Joanne, to illustrate to you that 10 years down the line, this is perhaps the way you could be looking.
Don't want to look like that at all.
So a lot more incentive to change your diet then?
Yeah.
Good.
I feel like this has answered a few questions in my mind. Like, I hadn't seen anything going on because obviously, like, the protein and the blood cells are inside. So, like, you can talk about that as much as you like, but I'm just like, oh yeah, flies over my head. But when it's the appearance, if I'm walking down the street and like everyone can tell, that's like it's had a wake-up call of I don't want to stay like this. I need to change.
Helen's diet isn't the only puzzle in her life. For years, she's been in and out of hospital with complaints of migraines and regularly suffers from fatigue. Natalie wants to know exactly what a diet consisting solely of pasta has been doing to Helen's insides.
I'm concerned for Helen's health because the sort of restricted diet she's eating, it would be really, really strange if she wasn't deficient in something.
I'm quite an ill person, I'd say. In the past few days, I've been feeling really unwell, so I haven't really done much. Haven't really eaten much either. I'm a bit worried about the blood test results. If that's the reason why I do get ill and things like that, I think it will hit home a lot harder, which I'm not sure I'm ready for.
Dr. Pixie McKenna is a GP with a special interest in eating problems. She's analysed Helen's blood tests, and this morning she and Natalie have come to hear the findings.
I suppose I'm interested primarily to know how you feel at the moment, or, you know, on a day-to-day basis.
At the moment, I feel really ill.
Yeah.
But I'm really tired as well.
Right.
I've got a sore throat.
The problem is that you are iron deficient. You've got anemia, which, look, when we look at your diet,
It's no surprise.
it's no surprise at all, is it?
No.
Really? You know, we all know where we get iron, and we certainly don't get it from anything that you're eating.
In order to illustrate Helen's anemia, Dr. Pixie will use a model to show how her low iron affects her blood.
The reason we need iron in our blood is iron is a vital component of red blood cells. And the red blood cells transports oxygen around the blood. And if you don't have enough oxygen, you feel tired, weak, exactly the way you feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's have a look at some healthy red blood cells.
Healthy red blood cells are full of iron and are bigger, passing through the body slowly.
Because they're going more slowly, they're getting to the tissues and they're delivering oxygen. They're doing their job efficiently.
But anemic blood often has less iron, and this affects the size of the red cells.
We're going to show you what's going on in your circulation, because your red blood cells, they're smaller than they should be. Now, what that means is that they go along your circulation. They're going pretty fast, don't you think?
Yeah.
Now, of course, what that means is they're flying around at high speed, so they're less efficient at delivering oxygen to the tissues. And that's actually why you feel tired and run down all the time.
Iron from vegetables, like broccoli, gets absorbed into our bodies by the small intestine. But iron alone won't help anemia. The gut prefers an acidic environment for the iron to pass through into our bloodstream. Eating acidic citrus fruits, such as oranges, is essential for the maximum amount of iron to be absorbed.
The thing is, Helen, it's not really that much of a surprise, is it, that you're anemic? But the good news is that there is something you can do about it. You could be eating iron-rich vegetables such as spinach. It might not be easy, but it's really straightforward.
I always knew that my diet was unhealthy, but I never really realised the impact that it's had, and I kind of brushed it off because I always thought that I was okay in comparison to everyone else. But the deep down damage is there, and it is quite scary.
Kate may well have given cheese the chop, but Natalie still has concerns over the effects it's had on her body as the staple part of her diet for over 30 years. She's arranged for Kate's blood to be tested by Dr. Pixie McKenna, a GP with a special interest in eating problems. This morning, Natalie's brought Kate to hear the findings.
The first thing that showed up in your blood test was that you have very high levels of cholesterol. The other thing is, because you're taking in all of this processed cheese, you're not actually taking in enough roughage in your diet. So your high fat and your lack of roughage are going to lead to digestive problems. You're laughing at me. Have you had...
Yeah, I do get constipation quite a lot.
Right.
With Kate having fessed up, Pixie wants to show her the internal effects of her stodgy diet. She's got 10 metres of tubing, half what's inside the average person.
Could have up to 25 metres of bone, so it's quite a lot, isn't it?
She's prepared 2 liquids. One represents fibre-rich food and the other, Kate's cheesy diet.
I want to get you to transport the fibre-rich food right through the intestine for me. Now, what do you notice about that?
It's running down quite quickly, no
Yeah.
problem at all.
Can I get you to do the same thing with the cheesy stuff? Oh, dear. It's actually painful to watch that. But to get that to the end, you're just going to have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And that's what you're doing every single day of your life.
Instead of clogging up her bowels with processed cheese, Kate could get the recommended daily amount of fibre from 8 ounces of cooked peas, or keep herself regular with 5 pears. And if neither of those appealed, 18 poppadoms contain roughly the same amount of fibre.
I suppose the other worry is that, you know, with constipation, you end up getting things like piles, which are varicose veins in your bottom end. You're smiling at me again.
Oh, yeah.
Is that something that you've had?
I've had them operated on twice and I'm due to go in again for the third time because they've just come back again each time.
You're a recurrent offender.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a very, very sore operation as well, isn't it?
It is extremely painful, yes.
Yeah.
So, Kate, had you really, really made the link between your terrible diet and the piles?
I think I had, but it's very easy to blame it on something else.
It seems to me that you've had all this information, but you've put your head in the sand.
Yeah. Because to fix it, I'd have to do something that I didn't want to do.
I mean, for me, the most concerning thing about your diet is the fact that a diet of high fat and low fibre increases your risk of bowel cancer. And if I was told that, I'd be frightened.
The most shocking thing was the increased risk of bowel cancer. I think it's something that was always at the back of my mind, but I like to fool myself in thinking that I was doing things to reduce the risk of that, when in reality I'm not.
I think we've got a problem here in as much as Kate's quite familiar with the things that we were talking about today with Pixie. But that familiarity, knowing that, hasn't been enough of an incentive in the past to make her change. So I'm thinking, well, is it really going to make a great deal of difference now? There's something blocking her from having that information, knowing the danger she's in, and making the changes.